Hi, this is Kimberly, and I'm going to give you a synopsis of the introduction of the book, Letters from Christopher, Tragic Confessions of the Watts Family Murders by Sherilyn Cadle. And this author is supposed to be on Dr. Oz show tomorrow, October 15th, 2019. Before the introduction of this book, she acknowledges her husband, Ed. She calls him her biggest fan and supporter. She states that this book will give a detailed account of things that he has not been able to talk about before. Not sure what she means by that, whether it's because it's been too hard for him to talk about, or because he's been told to shut up, or what. She claims she has been given information that he has not told to the FBI or his family, and she wants us to hold all judgments until we've read the entire book. She calls him Christopher, and she says he's introverted and says he wants to get the whole truth out. She says that Chris was fine with her writing the book. He only wanted to have a chapter where he could give his testimony of forgiveness and how he came to know God and how he wants to help others now. Mrs. Cadle says that Chris cannot by law make money from the book, and that the Watts family felt it would be wrong for them to receive any money from it as well. The Watts family was more than generous with their information, she said, for the book, and in addition, some of Chris's friends provided information as well. She said she did reach out to the Rusicks, and Sandy declined in having any part of the book. She said she did her best to write the book in an unbiased way, and she calls Shanann a wonderful mom and a trusting wife. She also states that the book is her account based on extensive research, but she does not clarify if it's her research or if she used research that was provided in the discovery. Maybe I'm misinterpreting or reading too much into this, but it's what I thought. She says twice that Shanann and the children did not deserve what happened to them, and I'm just wondering, is she reiterating the point or repeating herself? Because I read some reviews on this book on Amazon, and a few people said that the book is somewhat repetitive. She says that most of the information on the media sources were made up information, or was made up information. I'm not quite sure what she means by that. I wish she had elaborated on this statement. Again, she says that, and I quote, most of the information on the media sources was made up information. Interesting. Okay, she said that pretty soon, Chris Watts was sharing dark and interesting things with her, and she didn't want to hurt anyone with this. But why else would she have approached him about writing a book? Clearly, the goal is to learn some new insider information for her book, and it's going to be dark. So, and interesting because so many people can't let this case go. So, and she continues. She said that Chris Watts thought that what he did, so the murders, but what he did was okay. Let me start over. She said that Chris Watts thought what he did, so the murders, but what he did was his way out of the pain that he held in his head, and that it caused more pain than he ever could have anticipated. I mean, did he really not know that brutally murdering his family was going to cause unfathomable pain? Maybe he didn't. But we'll see if Mrs. Cadle answers this in her book. I hope she does. She says that the Watts family said something seemed wrong, in quotes, and that they had a sense of foreboding. You mean like the whole Notegate thing and Chris being totally distracted by his mistress? Chris Watts claims to still love his family, and the traumatization he endured has taken away bits of his memory, but it's coming back to him in pieces. And Mrs. Cadle said she sat out, and I think she means she set out to find answers from Chris Watts himself on why he decided to kill his family. And that the story was not as simple as it looked to her initially. And that although she has a natural talent for writing, the story pretty much wrote itself. Watts claimed that he felt evil spirits surround him for weeks before the murders, and that a darkness came over him, and that his mind held secrets. Mrs. Cadle says no one wants to hear excuses, they just want the truth in detail, and I have that, so I'm looking forward to the truth she has in detail. She says that Chris offers no excuses for what he did, and that she wanted to contact Chris Watts and write a book ever since the first time she saw him on the front porch doing his interview. And he claims to have little memory of that interview now. But he does remember that he was traumatized. Mrs. Cadle and Chris's relationship started with letters, then progressed to phone calls, and eventually face-to-face meetings. She claims that Chris understood that she would not write his story if he did not take full responsibility for killing his family, and therefore his testimony of coming to God and the forgiveness he received would not be told. The author says that she never had an interest in anything like this before. I'm assuming she means true crime. I'm not quite sure. And that she had to have counseling after hearing the details. And this is where I'm going to end. I will pick up with chapter 1 synopsis in the next video. Thank you for listening.